Hello, this is Soundout here, and it's not Model Kit Monday. Some things happened. First of all, I got a zit on my face, and I don't want to be on camera. Second of all, I spent all weekend watching this year's EVO tournament. For those that don't know, Evolution Tournament is the biggest fighting game tournament in the year, basically. It is the largest competition for multiple games, and I have been in this fighting game spirit. I've been watching the live streams, and I completely spaced the fact that I need to make a video today. I kind of woke up and was like, hey, it's Monday. And here we are. So, when talking about fighting games, there are a ton of series. So many different games, so many different versions for each game. I love a lot of fighting games, whether it's Smash Bros. Or Street Fighter or Tekken or any of those. I definitely love fighting games. I basically make it my goal for every video game system I own to own every fighting game on that system, with a few exclusions here and there. So I own a lot of fighting games, and I probably will expand this list later, but for today we'll be talking about the top 5 favorite fighting games. These are my top 5 favorites as of right now. This could change in the future. I don't want to do honorable mentions. Like I said, I might expand this out a little bit. But I do want to say Model Kit Monday will be back next week. That will happen. Everything else this week should go on schedule. But for now, we have top 5 fighting games. So this is going to be specific games, not series. These kind of incorporate the series in my thoughts, so there is that. But I do want to talk about fighting games, as it is that time of year where I feel like talking about fighting games. So, without further ado, first rules of this list: 1 game per franchise, as well as being a game that I've had to have enjoyed significantly, whether it's good or bad, and it's not Mortal Kombat. Okay? I'm not a fan of Mortal Kombat, guys. And it's not necessarily the violence thing, which turns a lot of people off. I really don't like its control scheme. I need to try a modern one, but I don't really like the control scheme. This is going to get weird when we get to pick on this list, but keep that in mind. So without further ado, here we have number 5. Number 5 is Naruto Clash of Ninja for the Nintendo GameCube. Like I said, this is my personal favorites list, and the reason I'm putting this one on here, and it is a little low, honestly, when it comes down to Naruto video games, I thought the Clash of Ninja series on both GameCube and Wii was the best. I loved the fighting style the most. I loved the ability to pull off special jutsus quickly, easily. The combo system was really nice and refined. Now, why did I go with the original? Well, everything got better with each installment naturally, and I did play every single game. I own all of them in this series. But the original still holds a special place in my heart, as that's really when I started getting into fighting games. Because I was heavy into Naruto when it came out, I naturally wanted to pick up the Naruto video game that was available for the system I owned, the GameCube. And this is when I started transitioning from, I had played Smash Bros. Melee, it was my first GameCube game, but I wasn't really into more traditional fighting games. This is a more traditional 3D fighter, and this kind of led me to the point where I started playing more hardcore fighters, going into 2D, 3D from all different generations. This was kind of my gateway drug into fighting games, where Smash Brothers still is there as the game that introduced me to fighting games, and a game I still enjoy to this day. Naruto Clash Ninja was what really got me into more hardcore fighting games. And honestly, I can remember toiling away at this game for several hours to learn how to beat Zabuza, because the only way to unlock Rock Lee in this game was to be able to beat Zabuza without losing a round in arcade mode. So that was kind of the tricky part, was learning how to fight Zabuza, and eventually Zabuza became my main character to use in this game. He is just awesome, and I'm sad that him and Haku aren't playable anymore. I understand why, because they're just non-existent in the series, but they are really cool characters, and they played really great in Naruto Clash Ninja. Overall, even though it has a small roster, and one of them is Ruka Sensei, which, honestly, out of all characters put in a fighting game, then again, early in the series, fantastic game. It's really, really good, but if you are going to pick up a Clash of Ninja Revolution 2 is probably my favorite of the series in terms of, like, what has the most going on. But Clash of Ninja Revolution 3 is going to be the most up-to-date one that was released, but the series has ended, which makes me really sad. Number 4. Number 4 is Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Ultimate All-Stars for the Wii. Now, this game should have never really come out in America, as it's called Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Most people in the United States will not know the Tatsunoko anime production company. It's very obscure. Even with series like Gatchaman coming over as Battle of the Planets and, you know, other types of anime, you really don't know most of the Tatsunoko characters in America. A lot of them have been brought over, but they've never really reached mainstream popularity. So the fact this game came out in the United States is pretty incredible. And playing this game is a blast. It very much follows a Marvel vs. Capcom style, except you have Tatsunoko characters and Capcom characters. And you get just insanity, but it's a nice controlled insanity. The first time anyone picks up this game, they freak out. There is so much going on. It is super anime stylized, super Japanese. But when you start breaking it down, you start playing it more, you can realize how to pull off combos, how to activate special moves, what is going on, to the point where you can learn and adapt. It's a great game. And unlike the way Marvel vs. Capcom developed, where everything's basically air juggling, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom has a surprising amount of depth. Plus, you get to play as those characters like Kin the Eagle, Joe the Condor. You can get to play as, like, Karis, who was, like, the newest Tatsunoko character, and one of my favorites to play as in this game, along with June the Swan. Plus, we did get Frank West in the game, so that was kind of neat. They did add some things. All the voices are still in Japanese, except for Frank West. And overall, it's awesome. It's got Mega Man, it's got Yatterman characters, it's got Tekka Man, Tekka Man Blade. You can play as Gold Lighten and the robot from Lost Planet, who are just giant robots fighting each other or smaller opponents. And it's really, really fun. And I'm kind of sad that the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection is dead, because there isn't an updated version of this game to play online. So, that does kind of suck, but if you have a Nintendo Wii, this is a fantastic game to pick up. It's a little bit of a hardcore fighter, but I love it so much. It is awesome. Number 3. Number 3 I give to Ultra Street Fighter 4 on the PlayStation 3. Yes, I'm showing a Super Street Fighter 4 case. I had Super Street Fighter 4, I upgraded it to Ultra with the digital download, so I have only the case for Super Street Fighter 4. Now, Street Fighter 4 came out, and it was a little awkward because it had been so many years since Street Fighter 3. But Street Fighter 4 kind of revitalized fighting games. It kind of gave them a new renaissance, which was really great, and I recognize that and I love it. Now, for me, Street Fighter is a game I'm kind of okay at. I'm not really that great at pulling off the 6-button layout as much, but I heavily enjoy Ultra Street Fighter 4, especially with all the balance tweaks and the new characters and such. I found that, you know, for Super Street Fighter 4, I played it first on the 3DS. And I mostly main Sea Viper. She's still kind of my main that I use for Street Fighter now, that have her in it. But like Sea Viper was pretty much all I knew. And then getting into Super Street Fighter 4, there wasn't really much else for me except for Sea Viper, Blanca, and Chun-Li. I think were about the ones I was working with. But then when Ultra Street Fighter 4 and the Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, I started getting to use characters like Yang and Yoon. Oni, I think, was probably one of my most surprising picks, because I thought that was really cool. And then, like, Rolento, I think, became my best fighter overall. Like, I still playing as Sea Viper, but I think Rolento was probably my best for Ultra Street Fighter 4. Plus, you know, having all these other characters in there. So it was a nice, surprising mix, and I do like Ultra Street Fighter 4 for all its additions, all the Street Fighter Cross Tekken material thrown in. And it just feels more balanced overall, and I love the ability to have the option to have both Ultra combos available at a, you know, lower strength, which is pretty neat. Plus, Red Focus became my new friend. I found that Red Focus attacks just became infinitely more helpful than Focus attacks. Overall, Ultra Street Fighter 4 is great, and I can't wait to see what Street Fighter 5 it has in store. Will I pick it up right away? We'll see. I want to eventually buy a PlayStation 4. There hasn't been the games there that I've wanted to play, but now we've got Batman. Now we've got, you know, a new Assassin's Creed looks pretty cool. Plus Street Fighter 5, which is just looking better every time I see it. And Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, which is probably the game that tipped me over the edge. I was like, oh, I need to get a PS4 in 2016, because that game looks amazing. But Ultra Street Fighter 4, it had its last run at EVO yesterday, and that final match was amazing. I've not had that much fun watching the finals for Street Fighter. That was a pretty incredible bracket that was going on. And anyways, that is Ultra Street Fighter 4. Number 2. Here we have Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition. My number 2 pick, because I really love this game. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Mortal Kombat. Whatever Injustice does to the control scheme to mix it up from modern Mortal Kombat just works for me. Also, I used to be a gigantic DC fan. Not as much anymore because things that have happened. But Injustice Gods Among Us plays my DC fanboyism, and it also is a fantastic game. It's an easy fighter to pick up, but being able to master it, you can do some incredible stuff. The amount of juggling combos that go on in this game is just insane. Plus, the whole clash system I thought was pretty neat. The environmental objects that you can use to throw at your opponents and such, that was like the coolest addition. Because a lot of fighting games, you don't really need to think about what stage you're going to. Unless you're Smash Brothers, the stage doesn't really matter. It's usually just a backdrop. You don't really get much interference. But with Injustice, it's a strategic game. If you're playing a superpower character and you go into a stage, you can use almost every, interactable object. But if you're not superpowered, you don't want to go to a stage where 90% of the interactivity is superpower required. So it's kind of interesting the way that there is a strategy to picking a stage. It isn't just, randomly pick a stage. You need to actually pick. Because if you're the one picking or you're voting, you want to make sure you get a stage that's going to be right for the character you're playing as. Also, this game can be the distinction of one of the only fighters that I have learned every character for. I've learned every combo for each character. I've learned all their special moves. I've learned how to use each character. I've learned how to fight each character. I have played this game so much that I know pretty much all there is to the game. So why is it number 2? Well, when it comes down to it, there is still some issues. The online mode still has a lot of spammers. It's not really cleaned up. It's not regulated very well. The game kind of feels like it could use a couple more characters. I felt that there should have been 2 more, especially when Darkseid was in the mobile game. Also, a sequel would be nice too. But there's a few things that just kind of hold it back for me. And it may be just because I played it so much that I've learned everything and it's not as interesting to play anymore. But Injustice Gods Among Us is just a great game that I felt kind of vanished quickly. It appeared, was there, and then it just kind of got replaced by Mortal Kombat X. Kind of fell into the Mortal Kombat series a bit. I mean, Scorpion is a playable character here. But I really hope that NetherRealm makes a second Injustice game. I think it's a great series. I've played this now on Wii U. I support the Wii U version. When it came out, I bought all the DLC and waited for the rest of it, and it never happened. Ended up buying a PS3, bought the Ultimate Edition here. Ended up finding a discounted collector's edition at Walmart and got the statue. And then ended up using the power of eBay to buy the Injustice Gods Among Us Battle Edition with the arcade stick, which is my current arcade stick that I use. And I gotta say, even if I'm not the biggest fan of Mortal Kombat controls, Injustice Gods Among Us is just one of my favorite games. I love it to death, and I think it is probably one of the best fighters that's come out in recent memory. Number 1. My top pick goes to Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Now, the Tekken series has been going on for 20 years now, and I only got into it recently with Tag Tournament 2. This is my first entry into Tekken. I have played several of the other games, including Tekken 1, 2, 6, Hybrid, and I've also played, what's the other one? Revolution. And I gotta say that Tag Tournament 2 still to me is the best in the series. It's got some weird things to it compared to like 6. And it's definitely gonna, be improved in 7. But I gotta say that I own Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on 2 systems. I have the Wii U edition here, and I have the PS3 version where I mainly play. And it's a great game. Because when it comes down to fighters, a lot of them overcomplicate with buttons. Injustice did a simple button setup. You have 3 attack buttons and a power button. And Street Fighter does a 6-button set that Darkstalkers and, the Versus Capcom series does as well. But Tekken keeps it simple to 4 buttons. Right punch, right kick, left kick. You can set the other buttons to do other combos and such, but you have those 4 basic buttons that really makes Tekken appeal to me, because when it comes to Tekken, I can make sense of the combos. When it comes to Street Fighter, it's like, oh, short, jab, forward, roundhouse, you know, all these terms. When it comes to Tekken, though, you can think about if you were fighting in real life. How would you want to throw your punches, your kicks? What direction would you like to go in? You push the direction, you push the punch. So it's like, if I want a longer punch, I just push towards my opponent and press the right punch, and I'll throw a wider punch. Or if I want to do a backflip kick, I push away from my opponent and hit the kick button. That kind of intuitiveness to the game really is what drew me into the game, and why I put it at my number 1. Because Tekken is a game I want to consistently get better at. The more I watch tournaments, the more I watch other people play, the more I play online, the better I want to get. Because I can see myself getting a lot better at Tekken. Injustice, I feel like I've kind of plateaued. I'm at the skill level I'm going to be at. I don't think I can get any better at Injustice. But with Tekken, I got a lot of room to work. I used to main Miguel a lot in Tag Tournament 2, but I've started switching to Nina Williams a bit. Mostly because my mom challenged me to Tekken and totally beat me with Lily. And I was like, oh no, I need to do something about this. So I switched to Nina Williams, and I started learning that character, and now I got a good counter. Tekken's definitely a game that not everyone can pick up, but it is super fun. It takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of timing. Learning the range of characters is super important. I gotta say though, out of all the games that I've played, all the fighting games I've played, the one game I feel like I can improve even further on is Tekken. It doesn't feel like I don't have the skill for Street Fighter. It's just does not click with me as well as it does with others. But Tekken is a game that I will play for as long as I can, and I got plenty of backlog games. I have bought previous Tekken games, played them for like an hour, and then just like never gone back to them because I love this series so much. I think Tekken is great, and I can't wait for Tekken 7. If you know, they're getting testing locations soon for North America, not anywhere near me, but that could get like a full arcade release, like Dave & Buster's or something. I'll be at Dave & Buster's a whole lot more than I am now, which is never. So, I'm looking forward to Tekken 7. I'm hoping we get some news about a console version. I'm hoping we get some news about Tekken Tournament. That's another game that looks really interesting. But yeah, Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Let's go with Wii U Edition, because Captain Falcon costume's awesome. It's just a great game. And I'm glad it is the Tekken game that is the current one. And I'm looking forward to 7 so much. You guys have no idea. I'm super hyped for Tekken 7, and I can't wait to see what it's going to provide. So I hope you all enjoyed this video talking about fighting games. Sorry it's not a model kit. I do apologize for that, but I did run out of time. This is simpler, as I can just rattle off my thoughts on a game. I will have a fully edited review on Thursday for Soundout's Toy Chest, and on Saturday for the Soundout review. So anyways, until then, be sure to check out HeroTalker.com and Gideon Brog for all of your fighting game news. And stay tuned, I probably will make more videos about fighting games later on. It's something I like talking about, it's something I love playing. And if you want to add me on PSN or Nintendo Network, I am under PSN at Soundout12. And I am under Nintendo Network as Soundout. So, if you send me a request, send me a message on YouTube, let me know you've done so. I'll add you in, and if we want to play Tekken Tag Tournament 2, or Injustice, or Smash Brothers, or anything really, you know, it'll be a fun time. But until then, till next time, it's Soundout saying goodbye.